In this episode, we talk about getting more cash. This is Aidan Rees-Heron, and you're watching Property Geek TV episode 12. In the last few episodes, we've been speaking about returns and calculating returns, and we also looked at a single let and calculated the yield on that and also the return on capital employed. The yield was, I think when we did it, was like 7-ish%, which is actually really good for a single let. And the return on capital employed was around 8%, but we were taking precautions there. It is technically much higher, but we were taking precautions like accounting for larger interest rates and also doing an average, so sort of subsidising 25%. I think it was about 25% we took off, so that we could account for any payments or whatever over the year. Which means that technically it was a bit higher, but it's still not brilliant. Now, if you can buy below market value, like reduced price and refinance, if your risk allows you to, risk profile allows, refinance onto a mortgage so that you can withdraw almost all of your capital, then you get an infinite return, which is not bad. But what if you want to generate really good returns straight away and you need cash flow quick? Well, the best option for that is high yielding property assets. The first type and the most commonly known is HMOs. Now, what does that mean? It means house of multiple occupation, which legally is tricky to define, but it is 3 or more households, so families sharing one property. So a brother and a sister is from one household, but if you have like 3 friends sharing a house, then it's technically a HMO. Even if it's on one AST, it is legally defined as a HMO, house of multiple occupation. It gets a little bit more tricky, and this is where the confusion comes in, because certain properties need licensing. So if you have a property that is 3 or more stories, is shared by 5 or more people, and they share a bathroom and a kitchen, then it is a licensable HMO, which means it does need to have things like fire doors, smoke detectors, adequate fire protection systems, and all of that sort of stuff. So there's a few more hurdles to jump through for the licensed HMOs, and you have to pay for licensing, but it shouldn't put you off, because licensing is not that expensive. It depends on which local authority you're with, and it also means they know what you're up to, and it just keeps everything above board. Now, why would you consider doing a HMO? Well, like I said, it's all about cash flow. Cash flow is king in this business. Most people get into property because they want to build a pension pot. Yes, property increases in value, but it's about it's about getting hold of some of that capital. A lot of it's in capital appreciation. So if you have a single let, yes, over 25 years, it's a really great investment because property on average doubles every 10 years. So you are getting over a 200% return on your investment, but you've got to account for inflation and all that sort of stuff. But what about the monthly income? The same as dividends on a stock or a share. That is where your cash flow comes in. So the higher your rent is for the property, for the purchase price, the better your cash flow is. What sort of cash flow are we talking about with a HMO? Well, it's not difficult to achieve around £1,000 net, so after costs. Yes, there is a little bit more involvement. Yes, it is a little bit more effort. There's a lot more to do, and you've got a bigger conversion cost. You've got to pay the bills. You've got to pay for media. You've got several ASTs in one property because each tenant has their own AST. But you're getting £1,000 a month from one house rather than 200 quid, 300 quid from a single let. If you find the right management team or you've got great systems in place as well, then you can step away even more and it can remain passive. So if you're looking to generate massive returns on your capital without too much more output at the start, then high yielding assets are definitely the way for you to go. It's still a long-term investment. It's definitely a sit and hold strategy. There are ways to leverage better because you generate more cash. You can mortgage on a commercial loan, so you can leverage far more capital from the banks and borrow more. You've got a bigger borrowing capacity, and you're getting £1,000 a month on average per property. So question of the day is, would you rather £200 from a single let or £1,000 from a multi-let?